We love tech. It's 2021, and the person we go to more often than not is the founder of Women Love Tech. Her name is Robyn Foyster, and she joins us via Zoom. And I've got to come to you and say, first thing, Spotify. My goodness, they're not sitting back on their hands, are they? They're looking to make the product even better than it has been, and it's starting to really get some purchase and traction. All these changes from Spotify.
Yeah, I mean, well, Spotify has really made a big move from the streaming music to streaming podcasts, and they're aware. I think that there's a lot of competition out there. I spoke to the MD in Australia, Michaela Lancaster, not that long ago, and she was talking about what they're doing to really make it a much more attractive site. So place to actually be the place that people stream their podcasts from. And to help that, they've today announced a whole suite of tools that help podcasters monetize their podcasts, and they actually teach them as well to improve the podcasts. Because I think what we're going to see is a whole lot of different formats for podcasts. We've got used to very sort of straight 180 podcast, but I think we're going to see a lot more interactivity, people engaging with their audiences and then coming back and responding to it. So it becomes more than just a two-dimensional listening format, which is what it is at the moment.
Look, it's a very interesting perspective that you've taken, and I agree with you. No one can stand still in this 21st century, and it seems to me that COVID is continuing to create a desire to do something different. As you touched on last week and the week before, it's actually been a catalyst, not so much a disruptor. Although it has disrupted so much of our lives, it's also acted as a tremendous catalyst. So much so that even Apple now have jumped the queue, and they've said, and they don't like doing that because they normally like to wait till everything's done and then they bring you something else. They've just dropped 14.5 on everybody. And what do you think this part of 14.5 is about? Podcasts and improving the way and the categorizing everything. So if Apple's doing it, I can understand why Spotify have gone in there. But what I love about Spotify's effort is that they're wanting to teach all those potential customers how to improve their product. I think that's a difference maker, don't you think?
Yeah, I think that's clever of Spotify to really be wanting to show that they can improve the quality and help people improve the quality, and therefore they're going to be able to monetize more easily. So yeah, but you're right. Apple with its new lineup of products, which has just been released in the last week. What I love about their new lineup of products is that there's the color.
Purple.
Color.
Purple.
Yeah. And I have been saying this for ages that I just find even look at the people's colors of cars, that we're really boring in our taste for color. But like your lovely color behind the Informer, it's rich with color.
My car, by the way, is Samoan orange and platinum.
I love it, George. I would have thought you'd have nothing less than Samoan orange.
But seriously, we're seeing chalk. We're seeing all these wonderfully bright cars, or this palette of colours that are being offered. And it's not just our cars, as you touched on, it's our phones, our iPads and everything else that comes with it. But passion purple, it's got to be, you've got to update.
Purple's fun.
You've got to update.
Fantastic.
You've got to update.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. We want to see a bit of colour, and that's why the mobile cases are so popular, because you can get a range of colour. Mine are forest green, for instance.
Oh. Thank you, founder of Women Love Tech. Why did I know you're going to go there? Look, Apple have got a host of things coming, and I want you to keep us abreast because they've got a big event coming up later in the year. But you're right, they're giving us a sneak peek, and their latest 14.5 is probably for the first time taking on all those businesses that are hangers-on. You know what I mean? We're now being given an option to opt out. We don't want customers or advertisers following us everywhere we go. Well, Apple is saying, okay, we've listened and we've got something for you. What do you make of that?
But look, I think Apple, there's a reason why they're the number one tech site in the world, and we by far have more Apple phones than any of the Android versions in Australia. And they're look, Tim Cook is ahead of the game all the time. Like he's looking at all the health technology through his Apple watches, and that's always evolving and on the and ahead of to the time, ahead of others. So
and you can now answer. And now you can answer your Apple if you're wearing headphones or you've got the watch on, and Siri will do it for you. And Siri can be male or female.
Yeah, I love it. It's fantastic. I love all the changes that are happening and so fast. Like goodness knows what will be happening in another year. Even.
Okay. We've got Spotify. We've spoken about Apple, but I want you to give me a heads up. What in heaven's name is BorrowBox?
Okay, well, this is a great concept where you can basically, borrow borrow books through an app, which is a clever idea. So the idea behind BorrowBox is that it's like having an ebook, audiobook from your local library. That's what it's about, and it's a sort of 21st century. Way of looking at borrowing books.
So it's delivered like an electronic book onto your phone or your iPad or whatever device you want to read it on. And
exactly.
And okay, but is there not a charge in this, or is there a time limit that you keep it?
Yeah.
And is there a fine? Is there a fine?
It's like a real library with physical books and members, and like a lot of these things, they have the free version and the paid version.
But to download the app, I would say would be free.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Free to download it.
Wow.
And it's very clever.
Now look, you've spoken about Spotify. We've spoken about Apple, which is leading the charge. BorrowBox is this new app. You know what I'm going to ask next? Amazon, Mr. Bezos doesn't like being left behind. What's Amazon doing suddenly that it wasn't doing before? Because it seems to me that it's done everything.
Yeah, well, now it's sort of realized that they really do need to help boost the economy with some innovation grants. And this is a global initiative, but it's just kicked off for the second time this year. Wow. And it's called Launchpad. And we're writing about it on Women Love Tech and on the carousel because it's a really great concept where you apply for a grant. There's $200,000 grants, and then it also includes mentorship. And people like Caroline Creswell is one of the judges. You remember her from Carmen?
Yep.
And a new woman who's got a startup that won last year and talks about how winning this innovation grant Launchpad, which you can apply for now, but you've only got 2 weeks to apply for it, so get in because I think it's May 11. The application's closed, but if you win, you even get advertising on Amazon free of charge, so as part of the grant. So it really is to encourage people to basically SMEs, startups, entrepreneurs who are using Amazon to apply and benefit from what they can offer. And I think it's good that they're giving back to the economies in different nations where they're making so much money.
I totally agree. Small and medium business enterprises, anything they can get at this time to get them to the next level has got to be a plus. Now, I noticed that you've also thrown up a digital nomad that we need to touch and talk about. And at the minute I saw it, I thought to myself, Nomadland won just about every award at the Academy Awards, at the Oscars. What's digital nomad? Come on.
Okay, so we've got a number of digital nomads actually working for us on Women Love Tech, and so one of my team, she works currently in Guatemala, but last week she was in El Salvador, and the week before she was in Costa Rica.
Is she being chased by anybody?
Yeah. As long as you can get an internet connection.
Oh, wow. So what is it? So what is a digital nomad?
About it.
Come on, talk to me. What is
it? A digital nomad is basically someone who works around the world and can just connect digitally to, they don't need to be in an office. And, like the person who does my social media, her name's Inez Bezbez. She's actually from Paris, and she got locked out of coming back to Australia. So she decided that she would work in a co-working space in Costa Rica, where there's a whole heap of people that just rocked up in Costa Rica. They're working amongst the palm fronds, palm trees, and it's a very creative space, despite what's going on with COVID.
I had no idea there was such a rebel in Robyn Foyster. And women love tech. I get it. I love it because you keep pushing the envelope. But there is no end to your initiative, my woman. Robyn, where do you come up with these great ideas? Digital nomad, I love it. Okay, how do you track them down? You need to track them down, don't you?
Well, to be honest, it's about actually being flexible about people's work, the way that people work these days. And so, even myself, I have just been working, but I've been in Coral Bay in Western Australia swimming with whale sharks. And
hello, I want pictures. Do
I'll give you some pictures.
Can I just say, swimming with dolphins was magic. What was this like?
Oh, Coral Bay in Western Australia is beautiful, and it's Ningaloo Reef, and you literally walk from the straight into a reef. It's like the Whitsunday, Whitsundays, but I would say it's in some ways even better because
wow.
The fact that you just literally walk from Coral Bay into the water, and 1 meter in you can see reef sharks like I did, and that's quite extraordinary. And the whale sharks, are most incredible giants of the sea. That like the ones we saw were 6 meters long, but they get up to 12 meters, and they're beautiful.
And you weren't swimming with them, were you?
Yeah, too right. I was swimming with them, alongside them. That was the part of the whole. It's like a bucket list experience. So, and that's what I mean about being a digital nomad. I mean, as long as I didn't stop working during that week that I was away, I just didn't want to miss the opportunity of traveling. I did skip the lockdown because I came, through Perth and ended up having to be locked down in my own, self-isolate in my own place. But so what?
Wow. I had no idea that there was an adrenaline junkie just lurking at the other end of the Zoom call. But there it is. Robyn Foyster, Jim, Jim, fantastic stuff. Okay, before we wrap this up, I love my Women Love Tech segment because we get to talk about a whole host of things, and we've gone through a veritable who's who and what's what in terms of events and the things that are being released around us. But the Academy Awards, the Oscars have just been run and won, and as we've seen, Anthony Hopkins, age is no barrier to talent. Age is no barrier to award-winning and recognition. He's a marvel. He has been from the first time I saw him. It was a long time ago. I think the time he scared me. What is it? The Silence of the Lambs. It took me a while to recover from that movie. And from that moment on, Anthony Hopkins was always someone you wanted to see in the next movie. And in Father, he is something quite special, huh?
Yeah, amazing. I haven't seen that film yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. And the same with Nomadland, as we're talking about digital nomads.
Yeah. It seems to be all the rage, nomads at the moment. I think you touched on why, because we're breaking all the old conventions, aren't we?
We're totally breaking the conventions, and it's up to us to be more experimental. And as long as like with the internet, we can do that. And bosses have become more accustomed to people working from home, and so have had to be more flexible anyway. There's been all this digital disruption that we've seen, so that makes it a perfect, perfect place to be able to do that.
And for you, probably the Oscars this year again. Women love tech, but women also love the Oscars. And a director, a female of serious talent, has notched up another gong and broken another barrier, huh?
Yeah. So Chloe Zhao's made history as the second female director in history of the Academy Awards to win Best Director for Nomadland. And I love this. We ran a story on this, but I love this comment that she made, where she said in her speech that she wanted people to know she does what she does and keeps inspired. I've been thinking lately, she said, that when she was growing up in China with her dad, that they used to play this little game, and they would memorize classic Chinese poems and texts, and they'd recite them together and finish each other's sentences. And there was one that she really remembers called the 3-Character Classics. And the phrase says, people at birth are inherently good. And she said those 6 letters made a big impact on her life. And I thought, isn't that lovely that, she's got such an optimistic spirit that, and she brought that to everyone's attention. People at birth are inherently good.
But that's true. It's a beautiful thing, but it's also accurate. It's a mold,
yeah.
and our parenting skills are then challenged to create and to develop that young person. And then, of course, it's your environment, your schooling, and everything, and the people that you mix with that ultimately help to shape and finally deliver the person or persons that we know around us. And there are an awful lot of good people in this world. It's that wonderful story that you and I have discussed so many times. We're hardwired to bad news. So we're hardwired to bad characters, to thieves, to all manner of bad things. But we should understand that the great majority of people are wonderful.
That's
right. And they're good. If you want to know more about Women Love Tech, get onto the website. Robyn Foyster has got a team of talented people around her. They keep challenging convention each and every week. No, take that back. Each and every day. Robyn, you'll surprise us again next week with your next lot of goodies, but we've done it all. Spotify, we've ticked Apple off, we've gone to Borrow Box, then you took us and gave us a clue about how Amazon really are trying to put something back into the community, which is a wonderful thing because they've taken so much out of the community. And Mr. Bezos, the richest man in the world, can afford to offer up a few incentives. And great to hear, finally, that there are people in the world that are making a living as digital nomads. Robyn Foyster, as always, thank you.
Thanks, George.